Welcome, 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 everyone, to another episode of Your Next 50, where we invite you to play big, to be intentional, and to conquer those limiting stories and beliefs that might be holding you back from creating that amazing and abundant life that you desire. We have an amazing show for you today. But first of all, I am Sylvia.
And I am Jenny. And I have the pleasure of introducing a friend, a client, a colleague, all those wonderful things. Welcome to A Woman Playing Big. Nina Chung, welcome.
Woo!
Thank you.
Nina's
Thank
in
you.
the
It's great to be here.
house. So exciting.
You're-
Jenny, when I looked at you sent me the profile, Nina, she sent me your profile, and I'm like, we were looking at, what episode could we do? And I'm like, no, she's a woman playing big. She's exactly what we talk about and what we aspire to be. And I can't wait to delve into your story. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Nina, we always love to start with a story and to let people introduce themselves. So how would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners? Go ahead.
Well, wow. Yeah, I've had an amazing journey, certainly in the last 18 years. Born in Guyana, grew up in Ottawa, Canada, got here when I was 7. So lots of international, culturally diverse background. Started my own business in 1996, and then eventually left that and went off on a volunteer posting to Kenya. And a whole lot of newness happened there. A little bit of this led to that, and I found myself taking some kids to school. And here I am, suddenly the president of an international charitable organization.
Wow, I have goosebumps, Nina.
Yeah.
I have goosebumps. The idea of just flying off to Africa, that's we read about these stories, but we don't know many people who do. And I feel very honored to speak with you today.
So, Nina, I met you when you were looking to expand Elimu. But tell me, I want to get there, but first I want you to tell us a little bit about those first kids. Tell us about that first group of Nina's kids, Nina's family.
Yes, and they'll always be Nina's kids. Right now, many of them are 16, 17, 18, 25. They've moved on. They were 4, 6, 8 when I got there.
Really, eh? Yeah.
When I went over on the posting to work in a polytechnic, got sort of very much involved in the field of education in Kenya very quickly, and very quickly learned also how difficult it is for parents to manage to keep their kids in school and get them through a decent education. So met these 2 little boys, 4 and 6 years old at that time, James and Joseph, under the care of their grandmother, sort of abandoned by their parents at the time, and had no one to take them to kindergarten, which at the time had fees attached to it.
Really?
And in Kenya, you need your uniforms and your black official school shoes. And if you don't have those things, then don't come to the school.
You don't go. Oh, gosh.
So that was my first little step in that direction, was taking James and Joseph to kindergarten. And I had friends that had come to visit from Canada that were with me. They bought the uniform, and they came with backpacks that were hand-me-downs from their kids, and even the shoes were hand-me-downs from their kids. Yeah. And so these little shiny, bright boys went off to their first day of kindergarten in January 2005.
Wow. Well, we just take that all for granted, don't we? Here in Canada. I mean, I think, most children go to school. We don't even have to think twice about that. That's just, how inspiring, Nina. And what were the next steps? How did you go from taking 2 kids to school to running an international, I think I'm jumping many steps here, but what happened next?
Oh, a bit of a complex story. So got those kids into school, started helping, doing sort of like tutoring with them. They were behind. One of them was 2 years behind. And over time, their grandmother was going to get thrown out of her home. She was obviously had no formal work, was doing laundry and housekeeping and anything she could do to sort of keep food on the table. And had 4 kids under her, 4 grandchildren. Wow. And I just thought about it, and I thought, I can keep these people from getting thrown out of their house. I can step in here and rent a house and make sure that they're settled in and make sure that these kids keep going on into school. And I did that. And over time, I was there for 2 years as a volunteer for my volunteer posting, so 2004 to 2006. Of course, never left after that.
Yeah.
But over time, a few more grandkids showed up, and eventually we were 7.
I like that. I have this visual, hey, 2 more show up. Oh, hey, yes, come.
Another one here. Some got kicked out of a children's home that decided to close down in the middle of the school year. 7 grew to 15 by 2008. And rather than just continuing to pay rent for her at that point, we actually got a house. We got a house. I set up a housekeeper or a house mother to join and help the grandmother with the care of the children. And
So at some point you realized that there was a sustainability thing that you wanted to step in. And I'm reading from Elimu. If those of you that are listening, Elimu, ELIMU.ca is the name of the organization that Nina founded. She's not only president, but she's the founder. And I love this language. She says, Elimu provides solutions for children, youth, and adults to achieve their life goals at every stage of their learning. So you clued in to, it's not just about giving them a place to live, it's giving them an opportunity to learn and grow. And talk a little bit about Kenya and how important education is for these kids.
Yeah, and Elimu means education in Swahili, which is the national language in Kenya, and I very much purposely picked the name for that reason. As we were talking earlier, kids over here take for granted going to school and maybe complain about it. But
they do, don't they? I mean, I've got 3 of them still in school, and now I've got to go to school. I hate homework. And I do bring those stories up that we look at documentaries on YouTube and say, look at this little boy. He's walking 2 hours to go to school because he's not technically supposed to or couldn't, and it does get them to reflect. Yeah. But these are amazing stories. Yeah. So go back to your question. Yes.
Yeah. So I think you were talking about the importance of education, and it is something that it's not all kids get it, but certainly the ones that know that they have no other opportunity really get the value of an education. A lot of the children that we're helping, their parents haven't had the opportunity. And, you need a high school certificate nowadays to get a job at, the equivalent of a Loblaws, a grocery store. You need digital skills, computer proficiency.
Well, nowadays, right?
To be able to go to university and follow the courses that would be at a university level, to be able to get any kind of a modern job in an office. And those things are not easy to get. You can go through your whole high school education and you've never touched a computer.
Right.
Or sometimes even a textbook that you need.
In Kenya. Wow.
May I ask?
Yes, you have wonderful schools. They have, it's not that's not the whole picture, but there's still a lot of, especially the rural and remote areas, like where we are in Malindi is a relatively large town, but surrounded by a lot of remoteness, rural villages, and people are still in those kind of situations.
Can I ask about the difference in terms of, I know you help a lot of young girls. And is there a difference in the education towards boys and girls? Are girls expected to stay home? Is it culturally that they stay home and look after their parents, have children? What is that like?
Yeah, there is a lot of that. And again, and especially in the coastal area where we are, in the rural areas, we still have child bride issues. So girls can be married off from 12, 13 years old. Sometimes as a second or a third wife. So really that's all about labor and housework and field work. And there's still a bride price sort of set up. So a lot of that happens because you get an exchange of value for your daughters. So a cow, some cash, livestock. And so it leaves girls voiceless, with no real say in their futures. But an education can totally change that picture. I've seen it happen time and time and time and time again, and it's a beautiful thing.
I bet it is. Wow. Tell me about a couple of the solutions you've come up with at Elimu to address exactly that.
Yeah, so as we also were saying earlier, like just paying school fees, just putting uniforms on bodies, that doesn't guarantee a future. So we've really focused on a program, a process that journeys with children and young people through their learning, and especially after graduation, especially so kids going through high school, when they've graduated high school, we now have this wonderful place called the Limu Resource Center. We call it our digital hub for learners. And in that center, we've got 3 floors. It's a capacity of 300 people. We fill it up pre-COVID, of course. Now the numbers are quite a bit less than 300, but giving them access to all those types of skills that they need. So you've never touched a textbook in school, come to us on the weekend, get your textbooks. And we give them to you on a Kindle, so that in the meantime, you're also getting some digital skills.
Excellent.
A Cisco program at the end of it, so that whatever you've missed, we're going to catch you right up. By the time you're finished with us for about 6 months, you're totally not only able to like type on the thing, you can pull it apart and put it back together again.
Oh, she's really...
Yeah, so that's been a really, like, getting digital skills, especially for girls. Again, there is this whole sort of like, girls are stay home, have babies, look after. It's changing, but that's still a big part of the undervalued view of girls. So when they come in and they excel at something like digital skills, taking apart the computer and putting it back together again, hooking up all the peripherals that go with it, downloading the software, people start looking at you like, wow, okay. And they also, gain that kind of boost to their self-esteem.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what it would feel like, the big smile on the face, right?
Yes.
The smile of accomplishment that you're providing. Yeah.
Have we taken apart a computer, Jenny, and put it back together? No.
Nope, I can't do it either.
But just their own value and their own feelings of self-worth then are, if you're always been told that you're going to be on path 1 and all of a sudden all of these possibilities come. So you are giving possibilities to these children to see their lives with a different filter. It's amazing.
The other thing we do for girls is a sewing program, which sounds kind of simple from a distance, but the teacher at the college that we sponsored the girls to said that if you have a sewing machine and the skills to use it, you should never go hungry. And it's really true. So we sponsor the girls for the 2-year training and then give them a machine. So the day that they graduate, they start their businesses, they start making an income. And that completely changes their status in the community. Nobody wants to marry off a girl that's bringing in money on a daily, weekly basis. And we're not just talking like, they can pay for a few vegetables. They start saving up. They've built homes. They've bought plots of land. They own cattle and livestock. They help keep their siblings in school. So we've got some great stories. But
then you're saying they're not marriage material now. Like, isn't that like here in North America, that's like total great marriage material. And there it is not, right? What a different, hard to get our minds around that.
It gives them the choice. Now our graduates choose when and who
they marry. Yes.
I can't help myself. I'm so inspired by this, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but tell me, what does it cost Elimu to bring a young girl from starting the program, 2 years, getting that sewing machine, to seeing her out the door? What does it cost Elimu?
So the fees it's $2,000. Okay. Over that whole program. So that includes the 2 years of training, and it includes the sewing machine that they get at the end of it. The sewing machine is about 250 of that. Fees is sort of like 800 per year. There's exams in there and so on.
Think about the return on investment on that one, Nina.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
What an incredible return on investment. One thing that strikes me about your whole approach, I just want to highlight from my philanthropy people and from my executive leadership people that are working in non-for-profits, is when you put a proposal like that in front of donors that sustains itself, it is completely a win-win. I want to commend you for thinking about long-term. You're not filling a gap in a hole, like filling a hole on a dam. You're actually changing the direction of the water. And I just want to honor that. Bravo for thinking it through.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's amazing because, what happens is that these girls become businesswomen, and they not only take their siblings to school, but we know that their children, the priority now for them as a family
is
is going to be
education.
keeping up that education, skills, training, and that's changing the next generation.
How many kids have you helped, Nina? When you say Nina's kids, how many kids do you have?
So, hundreds in all the different programs. The sewing program, we've had 60 young women start up their own businesses since about 2010. We've got 14 more that are going through right now. And like I said, at the Resource Center, we receive 300 children a day during the holidays. Before COVID in 2019, we had 15,000 visits, individual visits from kids just coming in to access the computers and the textbooks and the things that they can't get in class. Right now, we've got 50 kids going through our Cisco program, and we've had 120 university and college students coming in this year to access the internet. Now there's so much online learning, and of course, I mean, if you don't have a computer at home and you can't afford the internet, what do? Well, in Malindi, you can come to Elimu Resource Center.
I am kind of floored. I am thinking about those first two kids that you started with and where you've grown this. And I'm thinking as our listeners are listening to this, Nina is proof positive that when you have a big dream or a vision of how you can make the world a better place, moving forward towards it, and you can make it happen. Nina, would you have a message for any of our listeners who are listening, thinking they have a passion or something that's burning in their heart? Is there a message you might have to them?
Well, from this perspective back, when I started it, I didn't know that I was going to be starting this massive organization with 12 staff in Kenya and a board in Canada and a board in the US. I just wanted to keep kids in school. I wanted to make, and I was ready to make the sacrifices personally to make that happen for these two kids and for their family. So, just step out. I think the one thing I've learned in Kenya is we always wait for all the perfect things to come into play. Like as women, how many of us, I don't have my own children, how many of us put off kids because, there's going to be this perfect time when everything was going to be right and the career was going to be perfect and whatever. And that kind of never came.
Or anything, right, Nina? It could be starting, like my client says, I'm going to put off doing the podcast or starting my blog or starting my business even. We wait. What I'm hearing, we had this idea of the episode, like Jenny said at the beginning, of giving and receiving. But what I hear from you, Nina, is that you just served out of the goodness of your heart and wanting to be in service and helping, right? You have this passion for helping. And I loved how, often people are so overwhelmed by these big projects. We think everything needs to be so big, but you haven't, had you started out with that plan, maybe it wouldn't have happened. It's step by step you learn and, oh, look at this, I need more. And my friends are getting involved. And, oh, look, now there are 7 children. Grandma has 15 children. It just grew organically.
Yeah. So start from where you're at, start with what you've got, and step out.
Yeah. Step out. That's my takeaway. I'm loving this conversation. I want to talk a little bit about a couple of upcoming Elimu projects. I'm very taken by the sewing machine project.
Me
for
too.
a bunch of reasons. And I have to tell you an anecdotal story. We tell a lot of stories on this show, and I just full disclosure, folks, I am a donor to Elimu. I'm a monthly donor, and I'm really proud of that donation. And I remember talking with Nina, and I said, international aid, it's not like, I love Plan Canada, and I love, I believe in the work, UNICEF, all those, but they're kind of abstract to me. And I was saying, Nina, I give to you because I trust you and I believe in you. And I don't know if you remember this, but you said to me, Jenny, stop thinking about it as international aid and start thinking about helping women and helping people in need and helping education. And I was like, you're so right. Right? And that donation that I make is a small thing that I can do to make the world a better place. So just wanted to flag that for anybody on this call that's listening and wants to be inspired over this holiday season. absolutely want to invite you over to elimu.ca to either make a donation or perhaps we want to talk about this special doll project.
Yes.
Tell us more, Nina.
Yes, I love to talk about this special doll project. So this is a little lady called Pando. These are Pando Artisan rag dolls. She's actually Carol.
Carol.
Nancy.
So, and if you're listening,
at the moment.
If you're listening, can you describe the dolls to us for those of us that are on podcasts? Describe what they look like. Yeah.
Yes.
Describe.
So I'm holding them up, but so these are all handmade, hand sewn by our sewing girls, actually designed and created by them. So they've got nice little sweet, happy, smiley faces that are hand sewn in. Each doll has a different type of hairdo. So the girls actually braid the fabric into the braids. Kenyan hair is usually braided. So we've got Carol, who's got a single bun on the middle of her head braided. Nancy's got this nice crown braid around her whole head. And then there's another little one that's got two little pussycat buns on either side of her head. And they're all dressed in local fabrics.
Gorgeous.
And the dresses are actually designed by a partner of ours in Los Angeles, tomfoolery.la. She came to Kenya in 2019 to work with our girls. And this kind of really started all this creative textile work. The beauty of these dolls is that last year during COVID, everything got shut down. Schools were locked down. We were forced with having to send the girls back to their villages. And as this thing continued, we saw that the danger was they'd get married off. There was pregnancy, abuses. So how could we keep them at college? Now you were allowed to run business activities. So we started by sewing face masks, and that was a great thing. It also made some income for the girls. But that wasn't going to go on for months and months. And eventually we came up with this wonderful ragdoll project, and they had to figure it out for themselves, go online and look at patterns and teach themselves these new stitches. And eventually these Pando artisan rag dolls came together. They're tea stained, so to get a little color in the fabric, which is very white. We use tea dyeing for something more natural. And it allowed us, it kept those girls in college safe and learning new skills. They have never even touched a doll or owned a doll. So at first they thought, what is this? Yeah. But it's just been this wonderful project, and it's created these connections because these girls, the dolls come with the stories of the real. So little Carol is a real Elimu alumni, Nancy and Priska as well. And so each doll comes with a little card that tells the story. And we're really using the dolls to make that connection with girls and women over here and how sewing can have such a big impact. And as you said, Jenny, I make a small kind of contribution, but that's really what it's all about. We're a community of support around these girls, and each individual small contribution has allowed me to do what I've been doing for 18 years.
It's wonderful. And you're selling these dolls. The girls are selling these dolls through Elimu.
Yes. So they're available in Canada and the United States. We have a partner down there as well. And what we do is for $100 donation, you get a doll and that little information card. They come with a little carry case of their own, and it comes with an $80 tax receipt.
Amazing. What a brilliant, I mean, what I'm struck by is how comfortable you are with pivoting, right? Oh, we can only run businesses. Okay, let's run a business. Find something to do.
One of the things I love about Elimu, and what it's done for me too, is that we do what we speak, right? So it's about self-paced learning, it's about innovation, it's about creativity, and like I said, working with what you've got. So it's not just about teaching the kids to do that, but we do it, we live it.
Wow.
Now you have an event coming up regarding the dolls, do you not?
Yes. So one of the wonderful things that happened also with Pando, we had this opportunity at the beginning of this year when I got back to Canada. An Algonquin College student who's a good friend of Elimu's offered himself as a intern. He went back to school last year during lockdown and did broadcasting. And so we got together, came up with this other project, and did a documentary to tell the story about the Pando dolls and the impact that we've had with them. And we're launching that this Saturday, the Canadian, North American launch of the Pando documentary. It's going to be a virtual event, and I know that most of your listeners or viewers are probably going to hear this after the fact.
Yes.
But it's a 15-minute documentary, a really engaging view of the lives of these girls and how this doll came up and how much it's changing their lives and Elimu's fundraising.
Yeah.
And it's going to be posted now to our YouTube channel, so anybody can get access to that
Lovely.
at any point.
So just go on the website and you're going to see Elimu's Facebook page and YouTube channel where you can watch this video. I can't wait. That's going to be and it's always through storytelling, is it not?
Yeah.
And raising funds, and even in your own businesses, we're always telling stories, and that's how people are, magnetic. We're attracted to people through the stories that they tell. And what a beautiful story, Nina. I love this.
Yeah, the ragdolls are helping us tell these girls' stories, and that's again something we didn't see that coming. It just came at the right time in the right place.
So you're putting a face to them, right?
Yes,
we can see them. It's not
literally.
just this abstract, like I can take that documentary and show my children now, and they're going to remember that little girl who's sewing the doll, right? And and it's so fun because I don't think she watches my show, but my daughter is going to be getting, I think, a sewing machine for Christmas. She's 9. And just as this creative, so I'm going to definitely show her this documentary.
Cool.
Can't wait.
Wonderful. Oh, that's wonderful. So Nina, there's sort of two more things I'd love to touch base with you on, and then we'll let you get on your merry way. You are a very busy woman. By the way, folks, you spend half your time here and half your time. Is that correct?
Yeah. So last year I got locked into Kenya for the whole year, and this year I'm in Canada for the whole year.
Okay.
And going forward, I will be more so in Canada. That's the nature of the growth that we're experiencing. It's time to build up our board of directors, and the fundraising needs more of my attention here in Canada. And I have an amazing, wonderful team in Kenya that is now taking care of everything that needs to happen down there. So it's a beautiful time in the life of Elimu, and I'll be, but I'm back and forth.
And what's next on Elimu's plate?
Yeah.
What is next? What's the next chapter?
Well, the next chapter is a whole lot of new growth. So we've grown quite a lot in the last couple of years. One thing we haven't talked about yet, and I won't go into a lot of detail, but we came up with this wonderful innovation last year that boosts the Wi-Fi signal of our server out to the greater community. So we can now take a lot of wonderful digital content for education and say, for instance, boost it across a whole campus of a school, even out to the community. And so we're doing a pilot test with that right now in a remote town near us. And that's starting to get a lot of interest from the Ministry of Education and other NGOs. And we really believe that that's going to take us kind of beyond where we could have imagined. So a lot of growth coming. We want to do more with our sewing project. Something quickly too, we've just started up something called the Artisan Makerspace inside the Resource Center. So our sewing graduates we have a great way to stay connected with them. They'll be coming in and getting resources that they can't get in their villages, that they can't afford for themselves, equipment, machines, and continued access to the internet. So we're really looking forward to that. We're going to be teaching them how to sew handbags and beadwork and accessories and jewelry, so stuff to boost their businesses. So I got all of those things. We've got business planning to do. We've got strategies to write. We attract some new board members, and of course, the fundraising has to match the big
Yes.
Well, Nina, I just want to say thank you for being here with us. I am excited, and I think you've been really clear about what your next 50 is in store for you. We always love to ask that at the end. So thank you for that. And for our listeners, if you want to follow along with Nina and her journey, elimu.ca is the place to do it. You can watch the Pando documentary. It will be there. You can make a donation. There's lots of ways you can get involved. Maybe somebody listening would like to be a new board member on your organization. So lots of great ways to get engaged and to play big. I think that's always what we come back to on this podcast and this episode. So all the best.
Yes, thank you so much. If you're listening and you like this episode, please, 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 we're talking a little bit also about, giving and receiving. We bring you these episodes every single week. They drop Wednesday on the podcast. And if you like it, please give us a 5-star review. We'd like to hear your ideas. If you have ideas of other women playing big,
Yes.
drop us a line.
Love it.
yournext50@gmail.com. Share it with friends. Perhaps you have friends that travel and that, they want to get involved. They want to volunteer. This is a perfect and a beautiful opportunity for them. And Jenny, next week on the show?
Next week on the show, we have Cassie, who has a business, an organization called The Magic in Your Business. And she'll be talking about spirituality and intuition in your business. And that I am also very curious about. She's a powerhouse. So looking forward to that conversation. And if you're listening to us, this should be dropping just before Christmas. So maybe this is a chance to say, or holidays, if that's a better word for you, a chance to say happy holidays to all of our Your Next 50 listeners.
Yes.
Best wishes for a restful and joyful holiday season. And we look forward to seeing you in 2022, which can only get better.
Yes. We're going to set the intention, Jenny, huh? Playing big for 2022. Yeah. That's going to be the Jenny 5.0 year.
Oh, I like that. It is actually. It is truly the 5.0 year. I'll have a big birthday on March 8th, and I look forward to spending it with some of my Your Next 50 listeners. So without further ado, Nina, thanks again for being here. And thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. It's been fun.